I recently completed one of the hardest Pokemon challenges, Kaizo Ironmon. Maybe only like somewhere between 10 and 20 people have completed on stream. And it's one of the most fun challenges I've ever had doing. I did this in Generation 3 in Fire Red, Leaf Green. And now that I've completed the run, now it's time for me to voice my opinion about the small things in the run. And that way, maybe people can learn about my thoughts. Maybe we can have a conversation about it. Because in a couple of weeks, creator of the challenge I Ate Your Pie is going to release a new rule set for Survival Ironmon that's going to drastically change things in some way. I don't know how it's going to change things. But let's go ahead and go through what I think are the sort of top tiers and bottom tiers of all the Pokemon abilities in this Fire Red Leaf Green. To reiterate what the rules of Kaizo Ironmon are just a little bit, I'll put a link in the description down below. But you can only have one Pokemon. If that Pokemon dies, you start over. You can't really use held items very much. Your opponent's Pokemon are boosted. There's a lot of banned moves, a lot of other stuff. You're not allowed to, you have very limited item usage too. You can only use items that you find around the map. So it's a very hard challenge, very, very difficult to do. So your Pokemon ability can sometimes make or break your run. I think that what I'll emphasize is that I think that the stat distribution is probably the most important aspect of things, but abilities can really help. Your move set is really important too. Having good move set's really important. But I think that it's good when looking for a Pokemon to think about, okay, how does my entire package sort of play together, right? How is my ability playing in conjunction with my Pokemon and its Pokemon typing, in conjunction with my stats, in conjunction with everything else? So, it's important to think about all that when doing stuff. That being said, and I'm going to go through the abilities with that in mind, that, some abilities are really good, some abilities can be good situationally, some are always good, some are not good. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go through all the abilities, and we're going to go through this list. I'm going to go through it in order on this list. So the first one that we'll do is Airlock. Airlock eliminates the effects of weather. I think this is a minor buff. I think that typically if your opponents have weather, it's really high variance, right? If you have a fire move, then that's really good in sun, but really bad in rain. And I think that in Kaizo Ironmon, you want to eliminate variance as much as possible. I mean, that's true of all Pokemon, but eliminating variance is fine. I think overall this is a small positive effect. So we're going to find Airlock here, wherever that is. It's not in really a nice order here. I might actually go through it in a different order now that I'm looking at this, but I think that this, so it doesn't hurt the run, I think that this helps the run slightly always. So I'm going to put it right here. Well, I think it helps the run slightly. Actually, yeah, I'm going to go through it in order in this sheet. I changed my mind because I have to go find the abilities. There's not that many abilities. So we'll start at the beginning here. We'll start with Lightning Rod. Yeah, we'll start with Lightning Rod. All right, so going next with Lightning Rod. Lightning Rod actually is a broken ability in this generation. It literally just does nothing. So it says that Lightning Rod attracts lightning moves to you and makes lightning moves 100% to hit. Not actually true. It actually just does nothing. So it doesn't change the run at all. So I'll put it in the doesn't change the run tier. Sticky Hold, I think that Sticky Hold, we're going to scroll to that here. So Sticky Hold says the Pokemon's item cannot be removed. This basically does nothing. The only held items you're allowed to use are berries. So having your Pokemon's item not be removed has very fringe cases, but it doesn't really do anything. There's really nothing about this that does anything. It doesn't really change the run in any meaningful way. Minus is the same thing. It only works with plus. It only works in double battles. You're not really doing a double battle, so that does nothing. Marvel Scale. I don't actually remember what Marvel Scale does. So Marvel Scale boosts the Pokemon's defense stat when it has a status condition. I think this is okay. Half the time you're getting hit with physical moves, half the time you're getting hit with special moves. Boosting your defense is okay. It is such a fringe condition to boost the defense. I think it's very unlikely to really matter if you have this ability because you really don't want to be status for a long period of time. On a slow Pokemon, Paralyzed isn't that bad, and on a special attacker, being confused isn't that bad, but you don't really want to be status for a long period of time, and typically you're going to heal the status pretty immediately. So I think this is basically a useless ability. I think that there's very fringe usage, but this isn't gonna. You're not gonna try and play into this, and you're not gonna try and get status intentionally to be oh yeah, I get higher defense when that happens. I mean, maybe if you're a Pokemon a normal type that has only a physical weakness, and you get status, now you know, okay, well, now I'm pretty resistant to all my weaknesses. Maybe you play around Paralyzed a little bit. So, like, this is, like, at the very bottom of the helps the run slightly tier, I think. This is, like, the very, very bottom of that tier. But, you know, overall, it's not going to do much. All right, next we have Forecast. Forecast is the Pokemon transforms with the weather to change its type. I don't actually know if this ability is in Fire Red Leaf Green. I don't think I've ever seen this ability before on a Pokemon. If it is in there, though, I think that this doesn't seem very good to me. I mean, it can help the run if you have, like, you know, if you have a type of move that's good in a certain weather. I think it can be fine. But most of the time, it can also hurt your run if you transform into a random type in the weather. That's going to prevent you from getting a same type attack bonus from anything. So I think that this goes into the like can help, can hurt, and so yeah. So I'll put it in the either helps or either hurts. So DS Supermat, by the way, thank you for the sub. I greatly appreciate that. Shouts to you. Next, we have Immunity. Immunity I know very well about because I had Immunity on my winning Pokemon. Pokemon cannot be poisoned. Really insane ability sometimes. As I found out on my run, there are a lot of moves that poison in Gen 3. There's so many. There's like Poison Sting, Poison Tail. There's like Smog. There's so many moves that have poison attached. And if you're a Pokemon that like... really doesn't want to get... I mean, no Pokemon wants to get poisoned. Poison is especially bad in Kaizo Ironmon because, like, if you're in a dungeon, if you leave the dungeon, you're not allowed to come back. So, like, getting poisoned is really, really, really bad. So, like, this ability, I think, is quite good. All the things that prevent status are, like, quite good. They can very heavily change a run. I'm going to put it in the bottom of the helps run greatly tier, I think. I think that, like, these types of abilities are, like, really, really good. And preventing a status. Statuses are, like, the main lose condition for a lot of Pokemon. Like, a lot of times when you get to the Elite Four, you're not going to be one-shotting things. So, like, if you're immune to a status that removes something that can cost you a run later on, and removing as many of those things as possible reduces the variance, which makes it as much as possible. So oh yeah, and also if you want to see VODs of my run, my VOD exists, but I'm probably going to work on a video for that in the future. So I'll probably upload a video of that at some point in the future, so you can look for that. Next we have Guts. Boost the Pokemon attack stat when it has a status condition. Once again, you really don't want to be statused, but this ability is a nice reward if you are status. There's a lot of doubling your attack is like it like 1.5s it or something like that. It's a pretty significant boost. So like it's definitely something that like you can play around. It's like pretty nice to, you know, have in case you get like poisoned or anything like that. But it's not something that you're gonna play around that frequently just because of that. I think that it goes into the like helps the run slightly tier. Like it helps a little bit in some fringe situations, but it doesn't really change anything super meaningful about the run. Next we have Kenai. I don't remember what Kenai does, which is why I have this list up here. Accuracy stat cannot be lowered by other Pokemon. Stat lowers, preventing those is such an insane thing in Kaizo Ironmon. Preventing stat lowers in Kaizo Ironmon is like one of the best things because once again, like when you get to the Elite Four, you want to have as few ways of immediately losing the run as possible. Throughout the entire run. Throughout the entire run, that's true, right? Because if you die once, it's over, right? So you want to have as few ways of losing the run as possible. And one of the main ways that you can lose the run in the mid-game is by, like, getting stat lowered, like accuracy dropped and then missing a bunch of moves and dying. But even at the Elite Four, an accuracy drop means that, at, like, one stage of accuracy drop means that a 100% move is now 75%. Which means that you're missing a quarter of the time, which is a really, really large time to, you know, that is a large amount of times to be missing moves in the Elite Four, where every time you miss a move, you might be getting chunked for like a quarter of your health, which is like, you know, a potion or something like that. So preventing stat lowers is like one of the more important things. Just accuracy is still important. It still makes Kenai go in the, like, helps the run slightly tier, probably at the very top. I'm not going to put it in the helps the run greatly tier, though. I think that's reserved for things that have a slightly bigger impact on the run. I might create a different tier in here just to differentiate things a little bit in the helps the run greatly, but yeah. Next, we have Insomnia, which is that the Pokemon can't be put to sleep. Much like Immunity, this obviously goes in the helps the run greatly tier. I actually think I rank this lower than Immunity. Is that weird? I think that I would rather, because like Sleep, one thing about Sleep is that every single Sleep move has a full turn cost associated with it. So if a Pokemon puts me to sleep, then having this does gain me a tempo advantage on, like, I get 1 turn for free if I have Insomnia and they use a Sleep move. But, like, the biggest problem in a run is when, like, you get hit with the Confusion that deals a lot of damage, and then you get confused afterwards. If you have to spend a turn, like, healing the Confusion, and then you get hit with another one after that, that's, like, super duper bad. So I actually slightly prefer, but, I mean, to be fair, being put to sleep is, like, the worst status of all time. If you get put to sleep, it's really, really bad. You're breaking even on turns at the very best case scenario with your opponent, and the worst case scenario, you're getting rolled. So I actually think that, like, these are very close. I actually think I'd rather have Immunity than Insomnia. I think Immunity actually has more usages. Obviously, if you have a type that can't be poisoned, then Insomnia is better, but I actually think they're very, very close as to what I'd rather have. All right, next we have Intimidate. Intimidate is an ability that when your Pokemon comes out, it lowers your opponent's Pokemon attack stage by 1 stage. It's actually okay. Like, it's an okay ability. The problem is that it only lowers the first Pokemon's attack. It doesn't lower, like, any of the other Pokemon's attack. It only lowers the first one. So it's only good on the first Pokemon. So it, like it helps the run slightly. It helps it very slightly, so I'll put it here. But it doesn't really, like, help it a lot in any meaningful way. I guess that I would probably put above Marvel Scale. It's a little bit more useful than that, but slightly less useful than Airlock. That's about where I'd put it. Next, we have Magnet Pull. I don't actually know what Magnet Pull does. Prevents Steel type. Oh, this is anything that prevents Pokemon from fleeing is not mixed into the pool because wild Pokemon getting it would be really busted. So this is in a banned removed category. Next, we have Huge Power, which literally just doubles your attack stat. This is banned in Kaizo Ironmon, but is not banned in Ultimate Ironmon, which I'm about to play. So, in Ultimate Ironmon, this is by far one of the most broken abilities of all time. But for Kaizo Ironmon, which I'm talking about, this is removed. Next, we have Inner Focus. But yeah, doubling your attack stat is completely insane because if you have like 300 attack at level 90 or something like that, you can get 600 attack, which will just allow you to one-shot everything. So yeah, next we have Inner Focus, which I believe prevents flinching. Yeah, so it makes it so that the Pokemon cannot flinch. This is so mildly useful. It is not very useful at all. It's like so unlikely to be useful. It's like flinching happens on like very few abilities, like Fake Out, Extrasensory, I can think of off the top of my head, but they're like typically in a Kaizo Ironmon run, you want to be faster than your opponent. The only time this helps you is against against Fake Out, I guess, but it's like it basically doesn't change the run. I would actually put it at the top of the doesn't change the run tier because of how little that helps you. Next, we have Illuminate. Illuminate increases the encounter rate. Illuminate actually makes it a lot harder earlier on to pivot off of a Pokemon, and so at the best case scenario, it doesn't change the run. At the worst case scenario, you like run out of repels or something like that, and it hurts the run. So like, while Illuminate is not going to like kill your run if you have it, it's definitely something you don't really want to have. Having extra wild encounters is like really bad. So Illuminate's definitely not something you want. You don't want extra wild encounters. It does make it easier to hunt for level 8s in a couple bushes, but like it hurts the run drastically when you're trying to run out of the starting area, and then you get a million encounters and die because you can't run away because all the other Pokemon outspeed you. So I've had that happen to me a lot with and without Illuminate Pokemon. So all right, next we have Liquid Ooze. Liquid Ooze, I believe, is if you get sucked, then the opponent's Pokemon gets hurt. I believe that's how that reads. Yeah, if you get HP draining moves, it's used on it does damage instead of healing. Very useless ability. I mean, I've seen this actually do damage once, I think. I think I've seen this do damage once. I think I've seen a suck move on a Pokemon with Liquid Ooze like help me one time. The only time it's helpful is when you get Giga Drained and super effective, and then you watch your opponent's Pokemon bar like go down instead of up, which feels really good. But I mean, overall, it's probably not going to change the run. I mean, I probably put this in the like does not change the run tier. I mean, it basically doesn't change the run. There's so few cases where it changes the run. Next we have Chlorophyll, and Chlorophyll I believe is like one of the weather abilities. Yeah, boost the Pokemon speed in harsh sunlight. A lot of these weather abilities are very useless because like you don't want to have a Pokemon with Sunny Day and like Chlorophyll, because like using a turn to set up Sunny Day just to have this ability is, I mean, it's not really worth it. You'd rather just have a higher speed stat, because like one of the main ways that you lose runs is to Perish Song. I think Perish Song is really risky, and I do everything that's possible to play around Perish Song. Like, the only time that setting this up would be worth is in the Elite Four, when you need to play a higher risk strategy anyways. But this is like, it's not, I don't know, it's not really worth it to me, I don't think, to do this. It's not worth setting up Sunny Day just for this. Also, you're going to get nullified the second another weather status comes out. Also, weather only lasts 5 turns when you use it, if it's not coming off of Pokemon, which you can't really rely on. So I don't think this changes the run in any meaningful way. It obviously doesn't hurt you, but it doesn't really change the run at all. Next we have Speed Boost. Speed Boost says that at the end of every turn, you increase the Pokemon speed by 1 stage. Speed Boost can actually be very powerful. It can make Pokemon that are a little bit on the slower side have a little bit more speed. It's not something you can like heavily play around. Like I haven't seen a Speed Boost protect Pokemon yet in a Kaizo Ironmon. I really want to. I think it would be really fun to have a Speed Boost setup like protect Pokemon, where you can like have Speed Boost and then like protect to set it up for a turn, and then you can use a setup move and then use protect again to get more Speed Boost. I think that something like that is very viable in Kaizo Ironmon, and could potentially be very good. Like, the ability to get higher and higher speed as you progress through the battle is really nice. And I think in the Elite Four, it's, like, really good. I think it's at, like, the bottom of the helps the run greatly tier. I would rather just have high speed to start with. And on some Pokemon, it's not going to be useful at all when you just start with high speed. But I think that, like, the prospect of getting to the Elite Four and being able to outspeed every Pokemon, that, like, it's so important to be able to do that without having to set up, like, an X special or anything like that. And I've heard a rumor that in Survival Ironmon, you're not going to be allowed to use X items, which means that the speed boost is going to be really good. So I think Speed Boost is like a pretty good ability. I'm always really happy when I see it because it's a lot of fun, because like who doesn't love, you know, being Sonic and going fast, but B, because it's like a cool ability. It allows you to have a little bit slower of a speed stat, which is arguably the most important stat. So Rain Dish, I don't remember what Rain Dish does. Rain Dish says it gradually regains HP in rain. Once again, setting up like these weather abilities is not great. I will say, because HP regen moves are banned, I think that there's probably Pokemon where this could be really good, where like you just set up rain, you get the Rain Dish going, you regen a little bit of HP, and then that sort of like is a pretty nice thing, because I think it's effectively a leftovers. I think it's effectively a leftovers. Like, I think that this is pretty good. I like it can be good on a tanky Pokemon. Like, it can give you some excuse to set up rain. I think that it's like the bottom of the helps the run slightly tier, but like because if you can heal in rain, that's actually very good. But yeah. So yeah, the X items, I'm excited to see what will happen when the X items are removed. I think it's going to change the game a lot when the X items are... I think it's going to change the game a lot when that's a part of the rule set. But I don't know what the other changes are in the rule set. We just have to wait and see. But I'll definitely be playing a lot of that on the first day. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/EconSean. And also you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'll be uploading more Kaizo Ironmon content and other Pokemon challenge stuff for a little bit, because I've been enjoying this a lot. All right, next we have Rockhead. Where is the Rockhead? Protects Pokemon from recoil damage. This is something that like can help the run very slightly. I think it helps the run a very small amount. I mean, there's only a couple moves that this works on, but like turning Volt Tackle into a 120 base power move is insane if that happens. Turning, like, I think Takedown still sucks. I think Takedown's still bad. But this has a really nice case with Volt Tackle that's really good. So I think that I'm going to put this in the helps the run slightly tier. Like, it helps the run a little bit, but, like, not too much. Sandstream. Okay, so Sandstream creates sand, which damages every non-ground steel rock-type Pokemon for, like, a 16th of their HP every turn. Sandstream is in this tier of either helps or hurts the run, depending. Sandstream on a a ground, rock, or steel type Pokemon is actually insane because basically every other Pokemon is starting the battle with 15/16 of their HP, which is really strong. Like when you get to the later parts of the game, you're not going to be one-shotting anything. So like Sandstream is just like so good on these Pokemon for like a little bit of chip damage. I think that Sandstream on a good Pokemon can like has a lot of leeway on things. Like it has a lot of leeway on things, and so like I think that Sandstream on the right Pokemon is really good. If you get Sandstream though on a Pokemon that is not immune to sand, it will actively kill your run. It actively hurts your run. So like Sandstream is very good on those Pokemon, very bad on other Pokemon because you don't want to be taking 1/16 of your HP every single turn you're in combat. That will kill your run by itself. So going back to Rockhead, yeah, I definitely agree that it's very unlikely that this matters, but if it does matter, it'll be good. Also, what's up, AKD? Pure power is literally just huge power. It's the same thing. So once again, banned and removed here. Next we have Stench. As far as I remember, Stench doesn't do anything. Does Stench do anything? Lowers the likelihood of meeting wild Pokemon. It may also... I don't think it causes a Pokemon to flinch. I think this is capped. I don't think this is how it works. Gen 3 has some weird mechanics. Some of the stuff is really broken in Gen 3, and I say that as a Gen 1 speedrunner, where Gen 1 is, like, incredibly broken. Stench I don't think does it. I think it does nothing in this. I think it does nothing, so... Next, we have Pressure. Pressure makes it so that Pokemon use 1 power point instead of 2. Pressure is something that, like, it helps the run slightly. It doesn't hurt at all. There's some instances where it actually can help you a lot. If you're running against a Pokemon with, like, Destiny Bond, it makes it way easier to stall out your opponent of, like, Destiny Bond or counter or things like that. Like, Pressure is like, it helps you slightly. Like, it definitely helps you slightly. It doesn't help you an insane amount, but it helps you very slightly. I guess I'd put around here... I'll reorganize this a little bit. I'll reorganize a little bit in a second, but it helps you slightly. It's like a small buff. Flash Fire. I believe Flash Fire gives you an immunity to fire, powers up the Pokemon's fire type moves. Yeah, so Flash Fire powers up your fire type moves. You're hit by a fire type move. It also makes you immune to fire. This is a really good... Anything that gives you an immunity to one type just like is so insane. Like it can be so insane. It can really make or break your run depending on the type that you get. I think Flash Fire is one of the better ones. There's so many good fire moves in Fire Red Leaf Green. There's so many good fire moves. And there's a lot of Pokemon that like would be good if they didn't have a fire type weakness. Like I think that one thing that holds like grass types back is a fire weakness because there's so many good fire moves. I think I'm going to get into this in a later video because I want to talk about Pokemon type tier lists, but I think that Ice, one of the reasons that Ice is unplayable is because of the fire weakness. Like there's so many good fire moves, and I think that Ice is just really bad for that. So I think Flash Fire is like being immune to fire is like it's so good. It's like so insane. It's probably one of the best immunities, but all the immunities are really good. Being immune to a single type is like one of the better things that can happen. Next, we have Rough Skin. Rough Skin, if a Pokemon contacts you, it does like 1/20th of their HP. It is a very small help to your run. It matters so little. 1/20th only when your opponents contact you. It's so little in the grand scheme of things. It really, like, you want to be one-shotting everything. Like, I made a big deal about how Sandstream can really make or break things. So, like, it's, I think that, like... Rough Skin, it doesn't really matter too much. I messed up my title. Let me hold on. We're gonna do type tier list later, but you're right. I messed up my title. I messed it up. Sorry about that. Thank you. But yeah, it helps very, very slightly. Next we have Early Bird. Early Bird doesn't give you immunity from sleeping, but it makes it so that you wake up like twice as fast. So like basically every turn that you're asleep counts as 2 turns of being asleep. And this is like, if you could be immune to sleep, it'd be really good. It's kind of like an immunity to sleep, but it's like, it's very close. So I would put it like the very top of the helps to run slightly tier. I'd put it like at the top. I don't think it's like a great help, but it's like a small help. And yeah, no problem, Robson. No problem at all. All right, next we have Shedskin. Shedskin says that every turn you have some percentage chance. Does it say the percentage here? You have a percentage chance of healing your status condition. So it's like you always have a chance to heal your status. So if you're burned, you have a chance every turn to heal your status condition. Shedskin is a really nice ability. I probably put it above all of these because it could be like a poison immunity, it could be a confusion immunity, it could be a burn immunity, right? Like it doesn't heal it right away. You have to be in combat for some time for it to heal it. I think it might be like 25, 33% every turn. But like having the ability to not have to worry about statuses over a longer period of time if the battle goes longer, so insanely useful. This is definitely one of the top abilities that you can have. Definitely makes a Pokemon way safer to run if you're scared about burns, if you're scared about poison, things like that. Can make it way safer to run. So yeah. Arena Trap is a removed ability because anything that prevents switching out is a banned ability. Soundproof. Soundproof is an interesting one. Soundproof makes a Pokemon immune to all sound-based moves. So that means that, and there's a few of them that are important. So Parashong, very important ability to be immune to. Parashong, a really big run killer. Really, you want to play around it as much as possible, so not having to worry about that means that you can like scout a little bit more if you have like a mixed set. It's a very good ability. It also prevents Supersonic from working, which is really nice. It prevents Sing, which is a really annoying ability. It prevents Hyper Voice, which is one of the more powerful physical or normal type moves in the game. So like it actually has some good use cases. I definitely put it in the helps the run greatly tier because not having to worry about that is good. I think it's slightly below Shedskin for me. I think I'd rather have Shedskin than Soundproof because I think that statuses are more likely to kill your run overall and being able to avoid that. But Soundproof also helps with statuses a little bit. So like Soundproof is really good. I mean, they're both very high tier. I'm not upset about either one. Next we have Limber. I don't remember what Limber is. What is Limber? Can't be paralyzed. Yeah, I mean, anything that's like this, you have to put in a pretty high tier. Any ability like this, I value very highly. I definitely put that up here. I think I put it above Speed Boost, but below Insomnia and below Immunity. All these like prevents an ability like or a status from affecting you abilities are pretty good. I don't know which one. I think Immunity I got really high on because Poison is really annoying in the late game. It's really annoying. Paralyze, I think that like people overstate how annoying Paralyze is. Paralyze slowing you down is really bad, but there's a lot of Pokemon that are tanky anyways and you don't really mind being the slow. I think about Paralyze is like you're going to take more damage in subsequent turns if you're paralyzed, right? Like, you're only 25% to not use a move, but being slower than everything else is the really, like, annoying thing. I think that the main problem with Paralyze is that, like, you do have some chance to not use a move, but then you're also going to be slower. So you're taking, like, a little bit more damage, but I don't feel like it's something that, like, is an immediate heal unless your Pokemon is like very frail and weak. So like if you have a tanky Pokemon, like I'm fine taking Paralyze for a couple turns. Paralyze also prevents some other, statuses from taking place. Like on a tanky Pokemon, I'd much rather be paralyzed than poisoned or burned. Poisoned or burned, ticking down your health every turn is just brutal. And it's one reason that like sand can like make or break your run. Like I've had runs that run to sand in the Elite Four early on. It chips so much of your damage early on, and then you just have to use all your healing items, and then you have none. So yeah, I think this order is right. Okay, so you have Sandveil. Sandveil, I believe it boosts your Pokemon's evasion stat in a sandstorm. I think it also makes you immune to sand. Making you immune to sand by itself, it's kind of like being immune to like poison or something like that. It has a very similar effect. I actually think that being immune to sand helps the run greatly. Like I really value immunity to sand a lot. There's not very many abilities on this list, right? This is not very many abilities. You're very likely to run into a couple of fully evolved Pokemon with sand. So like having something that makes you immune to sand is pretty good. I'm actually going to put it above Sandveil. It's kind of like being immune to a status, right? Sand is kind of like a status that just like ticks you down every turn on certain Pokemon, but Sandveil is not going to be useful on every Pokemon, kind of like immunity that some Pokemon can't be poisoned. So next we have Serene Grace. Serene Grace doubles the chance a secondary effect of a move happens. So for example, if you use Sacred Fire on a Pokemon, Sacred Fire has a 50% chance to burn. Well, voila, now it's a 100% chance to burn if you have Serene Grace, so your Sacred Fire is going to burn every time. There are so many abilities with secondary effects, right? Like Extrasensory has a 10% chance to flinch. There's a lot of abilities with, like, 20% chance to paralyze, 30% chance to flinch. Like, there's a lot of these abilities where if I double the chance that a secondary effect happens, oh my gosh, like, it's so ridiculous. I think that, like, you have to have the right Pokemon for this. But in general, there's so many of these types of abilities. I would put it at the bottom of the helps to run greatly tier. Like it on the right Pokemon with the right moves can actually be backbreaking. I have not seen this with Sacred Fire yet, but I think Serene Grace Sacred Fire is like 100% chance to burn and having an attacking ability. That's a 90% accurate move, or 95%. I forget what Sacred Fire is, but that's completely insane. That is a set that I think we haven't seen win a Kaizo Ironmon yet. That will eventually win a Kaizo Ironmon is Serene Grace Sacred Fire on some Pokemon with speed. I think it's so good. So I think that, like, its time in the sun is coming. Serene Grace's time in the sun is coming. Okay, it's gonna happen at some point. It's waiting. Shadow Tag prevents something from switching out. Another removed ability. Clear Body, I don't remember what that does. What is Clear Body? Prevents other Pokemon's moves or abilities from lowering the Pokemon stats. Right. So remember how I said that preventing accuracy drops is really important because stat lowers are, like, one of the most important ways that you could, like, one of the most impactful ways that you can lose runs in the Elite Four and later on in the game. Well, what if instead of just accuracy, you just prevent all stat lowers? You prevent your attack from being dropped, you prevent your defense from being dropped, you prevent your special defense from being dropped, you prevent your, everything else from being dropped. Like it's so ridiculous to, like, I actually think that this ability, along with the other one of these, is, like, one of the best abilities in the game. I actually am going to add a tier just for these abilities. I'm actually adding a tier. I'm adding a tier for this. I'm adding a tier. We're adding the goated tier for this. For Clear Body and, like, Shed Skin, I actually am adding a good tier for this. It's so ridiculous. It's so dumb. Yeah, Ancient Power, Serene Grace. That's another one that's really good. I think Serene Grace is good. But yeah, I think that Clear Body, preventing stat lowers, like, prevents so many lose conditions from your Pokemon that, like, it has to be up here in the top. It's so ridiculously good. I think that, like, it's so good. I can't say enough about it. All right, next we have Poison Point. Poison Point just poisons a Pokemon on contact. Yeah, if it might poison the attacker. Poisoning your opponent's Pokemon is not, like, amazing, but it can help a little bit. I think it helps very slightly. I think it's kind of like Rough Skin. Poison is a little bit better than Rough Skin. If you get a poison on your opponent's Pokemon, if it's, like, a little bit bulkier, if you're in a little bit longer of combat, I think that's, like, pretty good. I think that's pretty good. I think maybe it's, like, it's around here somewhere. I actually think that Rain Dish should be a little higher. I think this should be a little higher too. But yeah, it's somewhere around there. It's pretty good. Next we have Shell Armor. Shell Armor, I believe, is the same thing as Clear Body. Where's Shell Armor? Shell Armor. Oh, Shell Armor prevents the Pokemon from critical hits. So I've said before, I like reducing variance in runs, right? Variance is the way that you lose. You want to be as safe as possible. Like, there are some situations where you want high variance when you're behind, but typically in, like, any Pokemon game, you're, like, in Kaizo Ironmon especially, you're sort of, like, slightly ahead of the curve, and you're just trying to prevent these high variance situations from happening. So preventing crits prevents one really big loss condition, and on certain Pokemon, I think this ability is actually broken. If you have, like, Cosmic Power, which increases your defense and special defense by one stage, preventing yourself from getting crit, because crits ignore, like, defense ups and, like, attack drops and things like that. They ignore status changes. So on some Pokemon, if you're, like, very tanky, or you're, like, increasing your defense or something like that, Shell Armor can actually just be completely broken on those types of Pokemon. We haven't seen a Pokemon like this win yet, but I have a feeling that, like, Shell Armor stuff with, like, tanky Pokemon that, like, are trying to increase your tankiness in some way with, like, maybe it's with, like, a setup move or something like that. I think it can be so insanely good. So I actually am going to put this in the goated tier. I actually think it's less good. I actually think Soundproof might be better than Shell Armor. I think Soundproof, preventing Perish Song is so insane because you can't switch out in this, so Perish Song just ends your run. I think that Soundproof slightly above Shield Armor, Shell Armor is good. So yeah, I think I like that. Next we have Shield Dust. Shield Dust is literally Clear Body, right? That's Clear Body. Prevents the Pokemon from additional effects. Chat, does anyone know what the difference is between Shield Dust and, what's it called, and Clear Body? What's the difference between Shield Dust and Clear Body? Hold on 1 second. The additional effects of other Pokemon's moves have no effect. Okay, so this makes it so that the Serene Grace effects of moves have no effect. This is very, very similar to Clear Body, because Clear Body prevents all stat lowers. Shield Dust just prevents, like, if a move, like Octazooka has an accuracy drop associated with it, it prevents that from happening. If, like, Sacred Fire has a burn, it prevents that from happening. Also, completely good ability. It prevents a lot of the lose conditions. Like, sure, you can still get sand attacked, you can still have things like that affect you. You can still get tickled, right? Haha. So, like, this type of stuff, I think this goes, like, right below Clear Body. I think Clear Body is a little bit better because it's a little bit more general, but Shield Dust is also completely goated. So, and hello, Trumpet. Hello, Canuck, by the way. All right, next we have Magma Armor. What does Magma Armor do? Hold on, I can close this tab. I forget what Magma Armor does. Let me look. Cannot be frozen. Freeze happens so infrequently. Like, it helps the run slightly to not be able to be frozen, but I think it's, like, one of the worst things. I mean, typically you have a lot of freeze heals at the end of the game, right? Like, typically you're going to have some freeze heals and it's going to be fine, but it helps the run slightly or you know, doesn't help that much at all. So I'll put it there. Hypercutter is an ability that prevents your attack stat from being lowered, I believe. Let me just look. Yeah, it says Pokemon's attack stat cannot be lowered by other Pokemon. I think that, like this is okay. It can't, like, preventing all stats from being lowered is obviously the goat. I think that just your attack stat preventing it from being lowered, like, there's so few things that reduce attack stat. It's like Intimidate is, like, fine. There's a couple of other things that lower your attack stat, but that's basically it. So yeah, I think that's it. And yeah, you're right, for Shield Dust, yeah, if it's just the stat, so like Sand Attack, Shield Dust won't help you at all, but Shield Dust is still really, really good. Preventing yourself from being secondary affected is really nice, because that means you can't lose tempo in the future. But yeah, Hypercutter is, like, it's, like, okay. I don't think this ability is that good. I don't think that it's, like, that good. I think it helps to run slightly. I put it like here or something like that, like above Guts, above Marvel Scale, above Pressure, above Poison Point. Yeah, I put it, like, somewhere in here. It's kind of like, you know, it can help slightly in some instances, but it's not very good. All right, next we have Hustle. I don't remember what Hustle is. Hustle is boost the attack stat but lowers the Pokemon's accuracy stat. Oh man, this ability is awful. Lowering your accuracy stat just increases the variance in your run. Increasing the variance is terrible. You don't want to increase your variance in run. You want to lower the variance as much as possible, unless you're in a situation that calls for an increased variance play. But typically you want to lower your variance as much as possible until it's necessary to increase your variance. So, like, having Hustle for the entire run is just awful. It multiplies your power by 1.3. It's not even worth giving up the accuracy for that. So yeah, Hustle it actively hurts the run. I would pivot off of any Pokemon with Hustle for sure. Illuminate is not necessarily, like, I would pivot off of. I guess I should move Illuminate up here. Hustle, I would definitely pivot off of. I would definitely pivot off of Hustle, like, almost no matter what. Yeah, even with Swift and Aerial Ace, I would still pivot off Hustle, because, like, those abilities are not going to carry you to the Elite Four win. So I would pivot off Hustle. It's not like Technician or something like that. All right, next we have Cloudnine. Is Cloudnine in the pool? Oh, Cloudnine is in the pool. Eliminates the effects of weather. Eliminating the effect of weather, I think, is quite good. I think eliminating the effect of weather is quite nice. A lot of different weather effects, like, increase the amount of variance, right? Like, if you have a water move, you really don't want to see sun. If you see sun and your primary move is a water move, really, really bad for you. Cloud9, like, prevents that from happening. I actually think it's at, like, the top of the helps to run slightly tier. It's a very slight help. It's not quite a full thing. Yeah, so Sandstorm and Hail are both considered weather. Yeah, so it helps, like, in that it prevents a big loss condition, or, like, you know, it prevents that variance from happening, but it's not, like, as much of a variance prevention or as much of a help as it could be. And also it can hurt you a little bit sometimes if you like the weather. Like, if you have a Pokemon that's immune to sand, maybe you don't mind sand or something like that, and Cloud9's actively bad. But I think it helps slightly overall. But yeah, Clear Body it prevents, just to go over that again, Clear Body prevents all of your stats from being lowered at all, no matter what. So it's so broken. So good. I think it's the best ability. I actually think it's the best ability. I think that Clear by Shield Dust are the best abilities you can have, honestly. Just preventing that variance from happening is just so important. But I'll go over everything at the end. Color change. I have a controversial opinion about color change. So what color change does is that whenever you're hit by a move, you change your type to the type of that move. I actually think I had a color change Aggron that I got almost to the Elite Four. Color change was actually very, very good on that Pokemon because I had an Aggron. Aggron has two 4x weaknesses. It has a 4x weakness to fighting and a 4x weakness to ground. What Color Change did on that Pokemon is that every time I got hit by a 4x weak ability, well, now all of a sudden I'm not 4x weak anymore. I just transform into a 2x weakness, so I have a nice chance to heal because it's very unlikely that a Pokemon has a move that is 2x weak. Of course, then I eventually died because I got Color Changed into a Psychic type and then Shadow Punched after that. That was pretty lame. So Color Change kind of hurt me in the end. But I think that Color Change is not some people say that Color Change. I've read an opinion that Color Change is just an unrunnable ability. I don't think that's true. I think Color Change is an ability that you can run. I think that losing the ability to same type attack bonus on moves consistently is a little bit annoying, but I think that Color Change is an ability that in the right Pokemon where you have a lot of weaknesses, it can be good. Or if you have different types of moves that you don't necessarily rely on same type attack bonus, then sometimes you're going to be able to use same type attack bonus because you're going to get transformed into something else. I think it's a very hard ability to play around, but I think that on certain Pokemon, it actually is not that bad. I think that it can be runnable. I don't think it's just immediately you have to pivot off of it. I almost got a Pokemon to the Elite Four. I died to a range on a Shadow Punch or something like that. But I think Color Change is definitely playable. I definitely think there's more experimentation if you're not relying on a stab move from a Pokemon, or if you're a Pokemon that has a lot of weaknesses. I think it can be really good. If you're a Pokemon that doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, you're nice, a nice typing, then you probably don't want Color Change on your Pokemon. So yeah, Color Change on Ice. Yeah, Color Change on Ice is also really good because Ice is a terrible typing. So I actually think that Color Change on an Ice-type Pokemon is good. Yeah, thanks for pointing. That's actually a great point. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, Ice, because I hate Ice types. And what's up, Lumi? All right, Blaze. Blaze powers up Fire-type moves when the Pokemon's HP is low. Very unlikely to matter. Very unlikely to matter because you don't want to be at low HP. And it does power up your fire type moves. It's so unlikely to matter. I'm actually gonna put it does not change the run. I think I've never seen Blaze hit on something. I'm gonna put it doesn't change the run. I don't think it changed the run in any meaningful way. And thank you for the congrats. I appreciate that. Next we have Water Absorb. Water Absorb makes it so that water moves don't hit you and they heal you instead. The healing, so by the way, the healing on Water Absorb does not matter for the majority of the run because the AI they cheat and they know if you have Water Absorb or not. And so any smart AI that's not randoming between moves will never use a water move on you because they know that you're immune to water type moves. So that healing part of it is never going to take impact in a run. It's only going to be there for the immunity to water type abilities, so your opponent's never going to use a water type move on you. Obviously, any immunity to any move typing is really good. Can mean that certain Pokemon have nothing that can damage you, right? On certain Pokemon, this can be really changing. This definitely helps the run greatly. I think that I have to think about how I value status immunities versus type immunities. Type immunities have higher variance. On certain Pokemon, type immunities are completely useless, and on certain Pokemon, type immunities are the best thing of all time, right? If you get a Jolteon with Levitate, that's obviously completely insane, right? If you get a a Scizor with Flash Fire, that's obviously completely insane because it covers your 4x weakness. Whereas immunity to poison is always going to be pretty good, but it's never going to be the most insane thing of all time. So I think that they're all around the same level of whether you'd rather have a type immunity versus whether you'd rather have an immunity to some sort of status effect. But I think that the type immunities are higher variance to me. So, all right, next we have Sturdy. Sturdy only prevents one-hit KO moves from working in this generation, notably. So it doesn't change the run in any meaningful way. You're never going to get hit by a one-hit KO move. Yeah, without Surf in the move pool. Well, yeah. I didn't. That's a good point to talk about. Is the difference between fire moves and water moves. So fire. There are many good fire moves in this generation. There's also many good electric moves. There are not very many good water moves. The best, there are a couple of high power water moves that your opponents can randomly show up with that will roll you. Hydro Cannon is a really big disaster sometimes. Even though Hydro Cannon's not a good move for you to have because it takes a turn to recharge, it's a pretty good move for your opponents to have because they can just one-shot you with it. But fire, there's so many more good fire moves. So yeah, I agree that water absorb should be worse than Flash Fire because water is a worse immunity to have. There's a way better pool of fire moves in the game. Next, we have Vital Spirit. I think that prevents you from being put to sleep. Let me just look really quick. Where's Vital Spirit? Yeah, the Pokemon cannot sleep. Immunity to sleep, much like Insomnia, I put in the exact same spot. I sort of talked about this before, that not being able to be put to sleep is very good. You can out-tempo your opponent, but I'd rather have immunity to poison if I had to choose, because poison is more threatening in dungeons, more threatening in the overworld. There's way more moves that can poison you, whereas sleep moves, your opponent has to use a turn to put you to sleep. Typically, you're going to be able to status heal it. Yeah, I mean, grass definitely has a problem because of the fire weakness. That's one big problem. And ice is way worse because of that. So, all right, next we have Volt Absorb, which prevents electric type moves. There's a lot of good electric type moves in this game. So I would put this around here. It's better than Water Absorb. There's more good electric type moves than there are good water moves. So I put it around here. I don't think there's any Pokemon where like the preventing fire moves from hitting on certain Pokemon can be completely busted. Yeah, I actually think what I think I'm going to do, I think I would lower Water Absorb and Volt Absorb to below all the status heals, because I think there's no single Pokemon where they completely break your run. I don't think there's a Pokemon with a single weakness that's electric, and I don't think there's a Pokemon with a single weakness that's water. But there are Pokemon with single weakness that's fire, and so for that reason, I think that'd put it up there. Yeah, I think that fire can be a singular weakness, but I think that like water and electric, they can't be. Oh, Gyarados, Volt Absorb. Okay, I forgot about Gyarados. You know what? I'll put it back up here. I forgot about Gyarados. Thank you for pointing that out. I forgot about Gyarados. I think Water Absorb cannot make a Pokemon completely immune to anything. So for that reason, I'm going to put it down here. But Volt Absorb, Flash Fire, I'll put it up here just because of that. They're all very close. All the immunities and all the status immunities are all very, very close. All right, next we have Water Veil. I don't remember what Water Veil does. Can't be burned. I will say burn, very rare ability to get. There's like a few fire moves, right? Like one of the reasons that Flash Fire is so good is because there's so many fire moves. A lot of those fire moves have burn. There's a lot of other stuff that's bad for it. Not being able to be burned by itself is not great because you still get hit by those fire moves. The only move that has burn by itself that Flash Fire doesn't cover is Will-O-Wisp, I think. I think Will-O-Wisp might not be covered. It probably is covered by Flash Fire, but probably not. But yeah, Water Veil, for that reason, I put Water Veil a lot lower. It's like, okay, but like burn is so rare of an ability. Getting burn can be really bad on certain Pokemon. Preventing that is like pretty good. But I think that like it's too unlikely to matter. I think it's a little bit too unlikely to matter. So I'll put it down here. Flash Fire stops Will-O-Wisp. Oh, even better than that's actually insane. That makes Flash Fire so insane that it stops that. Yeah, so Flash Fire literally is just a strictly better Water Veil than because Scald isn't in this generation, so there's no way to burn anything. All right, next we have Suction Cups. Suction Cups, I believe, does nothing. Cannot be forced to switch out or flee. Well, guess what? We don't care about that, and Kaizo Ironmon literally doesn't change the run at all. Next we have White Smoke. White Smoke, I believe, prevents other moves or abilities from lowering the Pokemon stats. This is the exact same thing as Clear Body. Goes right up there as a good ability. I think White Smoke has a better name than Clear Body, so I'm gonna put White Smoke above Clear Body, but yeah, I'll put it there. Flash Fire might be in the goated tier. Maybe it's close. I'm going to leave it here. I do think that fire moves are like really, really impactful and important, but because it's only one typing, I have to put it in the helps the run greatly. It's not the same thing as Shell Armor. There's such a big difference between Flash Fire and Shell Armor. Such a big difference. Oh, Tri Attack and Synchronize. I forgot about whatever. Okay, it's not strictly better, but yeah, it's basically better. Swarm. Swarm makes it that Pokemon are more likely. Oh, powers up bug type moves. Dude, there's so few bug type moves. There are so few bug type moves. I'm gonna put this in does not change the run. I really think that this doesn't change the run at all. There's so few bug type moves that like this really doesn't matter. I put it in the does not change the run. It can help you, so I'll put it like up here with like Inner Focus, Blaze, all these things that actually can maybe change the run just a little teeny bit, but basically doesn't change the run. Next, we have Wonder Guard. Wonder Guard, I'm going to put it in the banned remove tier because you can only roll this on Shedinja. because it's not randomized in the pool. You can only have it on Shedinja, so like functionally it's removed, right? If you get Shedinja, then obviously it's a good ability, but the problem with Shedinja is that if you get hit, you get tapped by a freaking wing that's hovering over you, you're gonna die. So like, it is what it is. I'll put it at the very top of the banned removed tier, along with like huge power, pure power, because when you can use these abilities, obviously if you could roll Wonder Guard, it would be completely broken, but you can't, so therefore it's just removed. So, all right, next we have Swift Swim. Swift Swim makes you go faster in the rain. This is effectively the exact same thing as like Chlorophyll, any of these things that like, I mean, it's the same thing as Chlorophyll, basically. I'd put it right next to Chlorophyll. Like Rain Dish, I think healing a 16th of your HP, like doing a leftovers is actually maybe worth raining for. Setting up a rain just to double your speed if you have nothing else going for you is like really is not going to change your run. There's a chance Swift Swim and Chlorophyll could change your run, I guess. Like there's a chance they could change your run, so maybe I'll put them up here. But like I think that realistically, you're probably not going to set up rain just to have Swift Swim for 5 turns. I don't think it's happening. So yeah. Some types. I'll talk about Pokemon types in a bit. I'm going to make another Pokemon types tier list. That'll be another YouTube video for those of you watching on YouTube, but I'll make a Pokemon types tier list in a bit. So, all right, next we have Synchronize. Synchronize says that when you get statused, it statuses your opponent's Pokemon as well. This helps slightly. I think that like the best case scenario for this is this works on sleep, right? Synchronize works on sleep. It doesn't work on sleep. Okay, it doesn't work on sleep, which is a pretty big problem. Like, if this worked on sleep, it would be amazing. But it working on burn, poison, or paralysis is like, okay. It can sort of help you gain a little bit of tempo back when you get burned, paralyzed, poisoned. So I think that, like, it helps very, very slightly. It goes about here. I put it, like, above pressure, but below poison point. Poison point's just better. Maybe Rain Dish is down there, too. Yeah, it, like, helps a little bit, so... Thick Fat. Oh my gosh, I forgot this ability existed. It receives half damage from fire and ice moves. So, we talked about how fire immunity is really busted. Thick Fat prevents fire moves and ice moves, which are 2 of the strongest offensive move typings in the game. In Fire Red Leaf Green, I think that fire and ice are the 2 strongest offensive typings. So, receiving half damage from these moves, really, really insane, really nutty. Like, on certain Pokemon, this can make them, like, completely busted. Like, on Dragon-type Pokemon, like, I think Dragon-type Pokemon are, like, pretty unrunnable in this game because all the high BST ones are banned. And for the low ones, like, ice moves are a huge issue that you're going to have to face at some point. Like, I think that this ability is, like, one of the few abilities that makes those Pokemon runnable. So I actually think Thick Fat belongs in the goated tier. I think Thick Fat is the Flash Fire. Like, because the problem with Flash Fire, your opponents are never going to use fire moves on you when you have Flash Fire because Pokemon AI cheats. Thick Fat, they will still use those abilities on you, but you can have like a crazy ice resist because of that, and you can have like a crazy fire resist because of that. I think I'd rather have Thick Fat than Flash Fire. Also, it prevents 2 different types of moves instead of 1, which is just completely insane. I actually think I'd rather have it than Shell Armor. I probably would rather have it than Soundproof. It's like close between that and Shed Skin. These all are really close. I'll decide on these later on. I'll decide on them later on what I want to order them as. All right, next we have Torrent. Torrent powers up water-type moves when your HP is low. There are more water-type moves, but for the most part, you really don't want to be low. I think this goes at like the very top of does not change the run. It's very unlikely to change the run. It's less unlikely than Swarm. Swarm is like never going to change the run, but Torrent probably doesn't change the run. Next we have Trace. Trace basically traces your opponent's Pokemon ability. I think that Trace hurts the run. I don't know if it makes a Pokemon unrunnable, but it's really bad. It lowers the chances of you being able to, like, it heightens variance. It doesn't get rid of any problematic things like weather. You cannot ask for a ROM, by the way. I'm going to time you out for that for a little bit. You can't ask for a ROM. I'm sorry. Can't do that. Don't do that. I'll time you out for a bit. Next time will be a ban. Don't ask for ROMs. That's illegal. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so I think it's very. I think honestly, it increases the variance of runs. I don't think that it like I can't decide if it makes a Pokemon unrunnable or not. Like there's some. It's good for scouting in the early game, but I think it might make Pokemon unrunnable. Because the problem is that if you copy like Torrent, which we're going to talk about next, it's really bad. If you copy like a weather ability, it does nothing and like, doesn't do much. You can copy a good ability in some rare instances, but it's unlikely to help you because you're probably not like playing a build around it. You can copy something like, I guess you could copy like Huge Power or Pure Power, which is pretty good. But the problem is that it's so like the variance is so high you can't play around it. You can randomly copy something like Color Change or Truant, and it will completely destroy your run. Because there's not that many abilities, you're probably going to copy Truant at some point. It's probably going to cost you a heal in a battle or something like that. I don't think it's unrunnable, but I think it definitely hurts your run. I think you'd rather have like an ability that does nothing over Trace. I think you'd rather have an ability that does nothing over Trace rather than that. All right, Truant is next. Truant basically says that every other turn you take a break from battle, you loaf off. Truant is an ability that makes the Pokemon completely unrunnable. Hustle, like there's an argument that like maybe sometimes it can make a Pokemon, like you may be able to do that. Torrent literally makes a Pokemon unrunnable. You have to pivot off a Pokemon because no matter how good your Pokemon is, taking off half the turns is going to kill your run. There's nothing you can do about that. It's so bad. Yeah, Trace is good for scouting, but I think overall it hurts your run. So yeah, Torrent, you just have to pivot off of. You got to pivot off of that. Got to do it. All right, next we have Drizzle. Drizzle causes rain. It is, I think that rain, it still goes in the either hurts or helps your run. It's above Sandstream. Because if you have I've had Pokemon with like a good fire move that has Drizzle, and it makes the Pokemon unrunnable because Drizzle halves fire damage. Most of the time, Drizzle most of the time is going to help your run. Most of the time, you're going to be able to like have a water move where the water move does double damage. But like, it can be scary if you're a Pokemon that's weak to water. You have Drizzle on a Pokemon, and now all of a sudden you're like, okay, well if I run this Pokemon, if I get hit with a water move, it's going to be like 4x effective plus the Drizzle, and then you like are going to die from that, right? So like, I think that Drizzle, it definitely can help the run a lot. It could definitely make the run really good. It can sometimes be in this tier, depending on how good it is. It can also be in this tier where it makes a Pokemon unplayable. So it has really high variance, but sometimes can be good. All right, next we have Own Tempo. Own Tempo makes a Pokemon not able to be confused. Confusion is like a good incidental on things. Like, Confusion can be pretty good on things. Oh, and so Drizzle nerfs fire, but it can also nerf your own fire too. So like, if you have a fire move, then you can't Drizzle makes that undoable, which I think is a bad thing. But all right, Own Tempo, not being able to be confused, really great ability. It helps to run greatly. Oh, I'm running out of space, dude. Why? It helps to run greatly. I think that it's around the level of like Limber or something like that. Not being able to be confused is pretty nice. There are a lot of abilities too that like increase one of your stats and then confuse you. And having Own Tempo and having your opponent use those abilities, because they say, oh, I can use this ability because like your opponents will use abilities that do statuses on you. They sort of ignore that these exist. So sometimes Own Tempo can be like really, really good. It also enables moves like Pedal. I mean, Pedal Dance is not like a great move. Like, being stuck in a move for 3 turns sucks. Like, it's not, I think that like enabling Pedal Dance is like, it's like okay. It's like an okay reason to like it. Outrage still sucks even with Own Tempo. Outrage is still not good even with Own Tempo, because being stuck in a dragon type move for a few turns is not great. You'd rather use super effective things, but like, yeah, I think that they're not great, but yeah, that aspect of it is not great, but preventing yourself from being confused is great. Confusion is a really annoying status. There's a lot of really bad things that can happen. I guess I could put it like, it's like around Limber. It's like around here. This is non-paralyzation. I guess I'd rather be paralyzed than confused most of the time. I think confusion's, well, yeah, it's like around here. So you can Pedal Dance if you want to, and you can leave your friends behind. Plus doesn't change the run at all. Does nothing. I'll put it right next to minus, just because. Oblivious makes it so that you cannot be hit by a. You can't be infatuated. There are very few abilities with infatuation, but infatuation might be one of the worst statuses in the game because it lasts forever, like Paralyzed. You can't heal it in this game. You cannot heal Infatuation even by. I don't think a status heal heals Infatuation. I don't think switching out heals Infatuation. So or switching out does heal Infatuation, but you can't switch out in this game. So I think that like Infatuation may be one of the worst statuses you can get hit by if you get hit by it, because it just makes it that it's 50% that you can't attack. So it is definitely in the helps the run greatly tier. I think it's at the very bottom of it. I think it's at the very bottom of the helps the run greatly tier because it does prevent a very annoying status, but that status comes up so infrequently. It's either a contact thing or it's one specific move, but getting hit by this status is really, really bad. And preventing that is like a pretty big thing. I mean, it might be at the top of the helps the run slightly thing, but yeah, I don't know. It's somewhere in here. I actually would put it at the top. It's so rare, but getting hit by it can be like really bad if it happens, so. We're getting close to the end. Next, we have Natural Cure. Natural Cure says that it heals the Pokemon. Oh, after switching out. Well, you can't switch out in Kaizo Ironmon, so therefore it doesn't change the run. Doesn't do anything. Next, we have Drought. Drought, exact same thing as, so Drought creates Sun, right? Sun boosts the power of fire moves. I would put this in the exact same spot as either helps or hurts the run. It's like the exact same thing. It's basically the same thing where it can make a run, right? There's a lot more good fire moves, so I put Drought here because you're more likely to have a move that helps with Drought, but it can also really hurt the run if you have a water move and you roll Drought on a Pokemon, so it just suffers from it. Yeah, it hurts. Oblivious hurts the run more than anything. Yeah, fair. Fair. Natural Cure is better in layer gens. Well, you can't switch out no matter what in Kaizo Ironmon. So, like, in the Kaizo Ironmon rules, you're not allowed to have another Pokemon. Oh, after the battle. Oh, okay. In later, yeah, if it heals the Pokemon after the battle, then I agree that Natural Cure could actually be good. But in Gen 3, it doesn't. So, yeah, if it does that, then I would move it up to the run, helps the run slightly tier if that happens. But for right now, because I'm just doing Gen 3, then I'll leave it and doesn't change the run. But yeah, if it heals it after battle, that's amazing, obviously. Next, we have Flame Body. I believe that Flame Body prevents yourself from... Oh, it makes it so that if your opponent's Pokemon makes contact, it burns. Actually, kind of a nice ability. A lot of contact moves tend to be more physical. So it means that if your opponent's using physical moves, they're more likely to get burned, which means that this is going to impact physical attackers more often, which means that the burn's going to be impactful. I think that it helps greatly. I think it's a good... This is a, like, pretty nice help. I think that it's better. Well, it doesn't happen very often, but burn is such a good status. Like burn is such a good status. The reason that like I think that the burn preventing the ability to be burned is lower than preventing the ability to be poisoned is because it's way easier to get poisoned than burned. But if you have the ability to get burned on contact, that's pretty good. I actually think it's like at the top of helps the run slightly. I don't think that it burns often enough for it to be amazing, but I think it's like the very top of slightly. Like it's good, but it's not like it is not like a great help to your run. It's only a slight help because at the end of the day, like you're still gonna get one shot by moves. But if you do, and it's also not guaranteed to burn the other Pokemon, so like there's that too. But like if it does burn, my gosh, is that gonna be crazy? Is that gonna be good? So yeah. All right, so next we have Effect Spore. Effect Spore is contact with the Pokemon that inflicts poison, sleep, or paralysis on its attacker. Once again, same thing as Flame Body. I think this is slightly better than Flame Body because it can hit sleep. Hitting sleep on contact is completely nuts. Sleep on contact is like completely insane. It's so good. It's like so insanely good to get sleep on contact. It's so ridiculous. Like, getting contacted and then putting your opponent to sleep is basically just like a free walk to heal. It's a free walk to do whatever. Like, so sleep is like one of the best statuses in the game. The biggest problem with sleep is that it takes an entire turn to set up normally. It's the reason that Spore is banned, right? Spore is banned because of that. So, yeah, I think Illuminate hurts the run too, but I'll go through things at the end and I'll just redo things at the end. So I think I put Effect Spore at the very, very top of the helps the run slightly too. So. All right, next we have Compound Eyes. Compound Eyes increases the accuracy of all moves by 1.3x. So if a move is 75% accurate, it makes it 97.5% accurate. If a move is like 80% or more accurate, it will make it 100% accurate. There are so many moves in this game and in Pokemon in general that are like 90%, 85% accurate. The best rock type moves are all 90% accurate moves, or 95% accurate moves. I don't remember. I think it's 90% accurate moves. The best, all steel type moves are 85% or 90% accuracy. Meteor Mash, which is arguably the best steel type move, is 85% accurate. That accuracy is really brutal normally because missing 15, like if you have a 75% accurate move, that means 1 out of every 4 times you're missing once and you give your opponent a free turn. 1 out of every 16 times you miss twice, which means that every 16 times you try and use a 75% ability, you're missing twice in a row. And your opponent gets 2 free moves, which can either cost you a healing item or potentially cost you a run if that happens because you have to spend too many turns catching back up on that tempo. Compound Eyes makes so many moves good. There's also busted combos with Compound Eyes, right? Like Spore is banned because it's a 100% sleep move. Well, you could get Compound Eyes Sleep Powder and have a 97.5% sleep move. It's very broken. It makes a lot of moves like Thunder, Blizzard, Fire Blast, like all these really nice moves that normally are really hard to run because of the accuracy. It makes them all really insane moves. I think that Compound Eyes is in the goated tier. It turns on so many moves. There's so many Pokemon where Compound Eyes just like completely breaks the Pokemon wide open because like all of a sudden you have these like 80% moves that are really powerful that normally would be hard to hit. Now all of a sudden they're 100%, which is just crazy. It's one reason, by the way, like considering X accuracies later on in the game, which of course those are going to be banned in the new rule set, but like X accuracies can be really good too because X accuracy can have a similar effect. There's like a permanent X accuracy, although it's a little bit worse than that, but basically the same thing. Would I rather have Compound Eyes than Shed Skin? I think I would. I actually think that Compound Eyes opens up so many abilities. Having the best rock type move hit 100% of the time is so insane. Rock is such a good typing in this game. It's so ridiculous offensively. Like hitting flying types for super effective damage is really good. And there's very few moves that can do that. There's so many flying types. It's like Rock is like such a good typing, and like all the Rock moves suck because they have low accuracy. I think that like, and there's so many of these like Thunder, like Fire Blast, things like that are normally low accuracy. Also means that when your accuracy gets lowered, you can still hit 100% moves because Compound Eyes makes it so that even if your accuracy is lowered, it basically prevents one stage of lowering accuracy. So like it does everything. It makes more movesets viable, which is really important in a run where you get very few access to moves. It makes it so that moves that normally would not be the best are the best, and it makes it so that accuracy drops it's really good. I think it is still worse than Shield Dust, Clear Body, White Smoke, but it's very, very, very good. I'd rather have it than Shed Skin or Thick Fat. I think it enables a lot more. I think that on average you can win more runs with Compound Eyes than you can with Shed Skin or Thick Fat. But I think the upside on Shed Skin, Thick Fat is higher. Let me put it that way. I think the upside on Thick Fat's higher because you could get on a Pokemon that's a GG Pokemon. But Compound Eyes, on average, you're going to get better runs with like almost all the time. I'll take almost any Pokemon with Compound Eyes with a decent stat pool because like it makes so many movesets viable. All right. Next we have Runaway. Runaway. I like Runaway a lot. I think Runaway actually helps the run slightly. Very slightly. It only helps you at the very beginning when you're trying to get out, but like, I might as well put this in doesn't change the run. It basically doesn't change the run. It's like kind of nice to have every once in a while, like for the very beginning of the run if you have low speed, but that's basically it. It doesn't change anything. Just lets you run away for free. Next, we have Levitate. Levitate gives you a ground immunity. Levitate, I think I put right below Flash Fire. It helps the run greatly. The nice thing about Levitate that Flash Fire doesn't have is that any pure electric type with Levitate has no 2x weaknesses. Because the only weakness that a electric type has is ground, and Levitate will cover that. So like, I think I might actually put Levitate higher than Flash Fire because like, I think that an electric type with Levitate is a GG Pokemon like almost always, even if you have like a pretty mopey moveset, because having no 2x weaknesses is just completely ridiculous. Yeah, I actually think I put above Flashfire for that reason. I mean, they're both obviously very good, but having no 2x weaknesses is so ridiculous. It's so insane. Like, it makes so many parts of the run, like, so ridiculously easy because you're just like, oh, well, I no longer have to worry about a super effective move here, so, like, I can just sort of, like, do whatever, and it's fine. Like, I have to worry about getting hit by, like, stab moves, and that's it. So, like, it takes away such a big lose condition there. It's so insane. So I might put it above Flashfire, but obviously they're both very, very good, so... Next, we have Cute Charm. Is this the Infatuation Contact move? Cute Charm, is that what that is? Yeah, Contact may cause Infatuation. Cute Charm is like one of the worst of the Contact moves. It only works on 50% of the Pokemon because it has to be the opposite gender to be infatuated. Thanks, Pokemon, for being so, so friendly to the gay people. But yes, it only works on opposite gendered Pokemon, which is... not, like, it only works half the time. It also only works when it's contact, only works every once in a while. It helps the run slightly. I would put it around, like a little bit below Poison Point. Like, obviously, Infatuation's a great status, but it only works half the time, so, like... I put below Poison Point. It's like, Poison's more likely to happen. Like, yeah, I'd put it around there. Next, we have Overgrow, which powers up Grass-type moves in a pinch, I believe. Let me just look it up. Yeah, Grass-type moves. This is even worse than... this is better than Swarm, but in the same type of thing as Swarm, where, like, powering up Grass-type moves is, like, it's pretty whatever. I think it's so low likelihood that, like... You're going to get low to HP. It's low likelihood you'd have a Grass-type move in the first place. It only, like, 1.3s it, which is even, like, that impactful, so I put it there. All right, next we have Pickup. Pickup is an ability that says after every battle, you get to pick up an item. So what that means for Kaizo Ironmon is that every time you go into a battle with a trainer, you have a chance to get an item. I think that the chance is, like, actually pretty decent of an item, and you can pick up crazy stuff. I've seen one pickup Pokemon get to the end, and the inventory of the Pokemon was, like, stacked. Like, so many full heals, so many rare candies. Like, it doesn't give you that many more, but, like, one more rare candy, 2 more full heals by the end of the run is so big of a difference. It's so big of a difference that, like, Pickup, I think, has to go in the goated tier, only because if you get a pickup Pokemon to the end of the game, you will have picked up a lot of items, right? A lot of berries, a lot of other things. I think that, like, it enables you, like, even if it only picks up berries, which I don't, to be honest, I don't exactly know what types of things it could pick up. I think it could pick up anything in the game. I think it's just random. But, like, the ability to pick up, like, things like rare candies and things like full heals and, like, berries, like, Lumberries are so insane in the late game. Like, being able to pick those up potentially is so ridiculous. I think that I have to put it in the goated tier because I have not seen enough stats about it and enough about what can get picked up, what the, like, average types of things that you get to the end of the game with if you use pickup is. I'm going to put it at the very bottom of the goated tier, but I honestly think that, like, pickup has the potential to, like, if you get the right items with it, if you can get the right items with it in Gen 3, like, man, it can be so ridiculous if you just get those items. So, yeah, so I don't know exactly what you can pick up, what you can't. I mean, maybe I can look it up. Hold on, maybe we can look it up. Can we look up pickup? I just want to know. Where is it? The level determines the rarity. Okay. How does it work in Gen 3? Whatever. I might look this up later. I might amend this, but yeah, I'll leave it there for now. I think I have to leave it in the good tier. So next we have Battle Armor. Second to last ability is Battle Armor. Battle Armor prevents you from getting crit. Protects from critical hits. We already talked about another ability like this, which is Shell Armor. Shell Armor, the exact same thing. I'll put it right next to Shell Armor. Preventing you from getting crits is great. Oh, it only picks up berries. Okay, interesting. Almost only berries. Okay, interesting. I think still picking up berries is really good. I think getting a bunch of berries is still really excellent. I would put it there too. You're not allowed to use an HM friend with pickup in the rule set, I don't think. Your HM friend is not allowed to be helpful to you in any way, so you're not allowed to do that, I don't think. But yeah, I think even still being able to pick up berries, picking up Lumberries is really insane. Lepa berries are really good. There's a lot of berries that are really good at pickup, so I would still put it here. I think that is, like, a really big help. I mean, maybe it should be a little bit lower. Maybe it's because I really just want to have a pickup run eventually, but yeah. Yeah, HM friend with pickup is banned, yep. All right, lastly, and probably not least, but pretty close to least, is Damp. Prevents the use of explosion and self-destruct. This helps less than you think it does. Like Explosion Self-Destruct are like pretty annoying to go against. But, like, it's most of the time, you're going to one-shot a lot of Pokemon. Like, if you don't one-shot Pokemon, Explosion Self-Destruct can be an issue. But a lot of times, if you're not one-shotting things, you're probably going to be bulkier anyways, and so you're more likely to live, something like that. Like, Explosion Self-Destruct does lower your defense by half, which is really annoying. But, like, you know, so it helps slightly. It prevents one big lose condition, which is Explosion Self-Destruct. But Explosion Self-Destruct, I think, is less likely than something like Perish Song or something like that to kill your runs. So I would put it in the, like, helps the run slightly. I put it, like, at the top of helps the run slightly, something like that. So, no, it prevents other Pokemon from exploding as well. Yeah, so it prevents every Pokemon from exploding, so it's fine. I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's totally fine to prevent other Pokemon from exploding. I think it's fine. It's not, like, amazing, but it's, you know, it's fine. Yeah, it doesn't prevent the damage. It literally will just prevent you from using the move, so it prevents it from happening at all, which slightly helps the run. It's not a huge help. All right, so we've gone through every single ability, and it took me a lot longer than I thought, but that's okay. I think this is fun to go through. Let me just go through and make sure that everything is sort of ordered correctly. I'm actually going to, if pickup can't pick up non-berry items, or pick some, even if it picks up any non-berry items at all, I think I have to put it in the good tier. If it can pick up like a hyper potion or a full restore or full heal or anything like that, I have to put it in the good tier because that's so ridiculous. To get extra item checks is like really, really important in a run. You have very limited item checks. Relevant pre-bright. I mean, it's relevant later on too. Well, Damp is relevant later on, but it's not super relevant. All right, helps run greatly. Levitate, Flash Fire, Volt Absorb. All the status stuff. I put Water Absorb a little bit below that. I think that's fine. Sandoval. Oh, you want me to change my color? Yeah, my colors are kind of messed up. Yeah, sorry about my colors. Hold on one second. Hold on. We'll you know what? Just to make it like cooler, we'll make it. You know what? I'll do that. Just to make it a little bit more nice. Now it looks a little nicer. Okay, there we go. Thanks for saying something. Okay. Speed Boost, Serene Grace, Water Veil. I think that's fine. Damp, Effect Spore. I don't remember what these abilities do anymore, so that means that must help the run slightly. So that's good. Hydro Poison Point, Drought, Drizzle. Yeah, all these are like the weather moves or things like that. Doesn't change the run. Yep, I think that's fine. These hurt the run, and these are bad. All right, this is my final tier list, chat. This is my final tier list. What do you think about my final tier list? If you're in YouTube, what do you think about it? Anything you very big disagree with? Remember, this is only for Kaizo Ironmon, so probably in like other Ironmon modes, this might change a little bit. I'm about to do Ultimate Ironmon, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Chat, you can say bye to YouTube. But yeah, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps a lot. Or come follow me at Twitch and watch me do Ironmon challenges live at twitch.tv/EconChan. Bye everyone. Bye YouTube. Bye.